I did in high school for many years. So,
Okay.
I have a background as an athlete, and Marine, you want something, we do whatever we have to do to get it. So we trained every single day in the little gym on Paris Island, and that Saturday we put on a 10, 12-minute match, and I was hooked.
Curious, if you watched or you were in wrestling, then why didn't you watch WWE or WWF at the time? Or
well, to be honest with you, when you hear stories of people that grew up watching, pro wrestling, WWE, they're like, I remember sitting in the living room with my grandma. And I didn't have a life like that. Like, I can't envision. My life was very serious. I didn't have time for fantasy. I never watched movies or TV or anything else. Even from the youngest I can remember, it was always strict and business. Like, I went to school, I was in sports, I came home, I went to work, I joined the military. There was no time to watch, and it's just a whole different world. I mean, I barely had a TV growing up, so when am I going to watch it? My parents weren't. I didn't have that lifestyle. We didn't sit down at the TVs on Sundays with breakfast while mommy's in the kitchen making me. That's not how my life was. I didn't have that. It was very strict. We didn't fantasize about characters or TV or this or that, or it was just strictly business.
Did that make you grow up fast?
Oh yeah, from the jump. I didn't have time to fantasize about pro wrestling. I didn't have time to watch TV and all this stuff. So that's not how I was raised. I was raised, I go to work, I make money, I try to get myself through school, I come home, I to all business. Since I've never been to a club, I've never been to a party, I focus.
Wow.
And that's how I've been my whole life. So this is definitely a break from reality for me.
You doing this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can step out of that mindset that I've had my whole life, which is why I was so successful in the military, because I come from there's no time to play. There's no time to fantasize. I need to get things done, and I need to get out of the situation, or I need to be successful. And not as a superstar, I need to make money. I need to get out of a certain lifestyle, certain situations that I'm put in, and I need to find a better way of living. And I was so convinced and so focused on that was my life. That was working, college, being a mother, being a wife, just focusing. I don't have time for anything else. I needed to be successful. I needed to get out of those situations.
Why was that put at such a young age? Was your dad in the military?
No, my dad did construction, and my mother helped him, and I also had a stepmom. But drug addiction, to be honest with you. They were alcoholics.
Both your parents?
Yeah, they drank, they did drugs, in depression. But, you can't blame them. They've been through a lot of things in their life, and it just caught up with them. My dad started a construction company. There were times that he had all the money in the world, and there were times that, the drugs and the depression and the suicide, just absorbed my family and all my siblings, so much so that I knew from a very young age what life I did not want. There is one thing that I've always known, and it was what life I didn't want. And, they tried the best that they could, but the drugs won. The depression won. And that's what I'm left with. That is what I had to see growing up, and that's why I based everything that I've done in my life. I've based it on a lifestyle and breaking a cycle of that kind of life. I've never done a drug. I do not drink. I refuse to alter my mindset in any way, because I've seen from a personal point of view, the people that I love the most be absorbed and brought down so deep that they literally took their last breath because of this lifestyle. And I refuse for that to happen to me.
My God. What does that do, though, for you?
Two things. They say that when you can talk about it without breaking down, that you're over it. I don't think that'll ever happen to me. I'm going to try my best not to break down, but it motivates me. As a mother, it motivates me. There were times that, as a matter of fact, I was about 10 years old when I realized I wanted to be a mom. Okay. And I was very sick. I had the flu. I had a high temperature, and I had vomit and diarrhea, and I was so sick, and I was just a baby. And I remember I 10 years old, run into the bathroom and there's no one there. And I passed out because of the fever. And when I woke up the next day, as a 10-year-old, nobody was there. And I asked myself, like, where were they? And it's funny because as an adult, I knew that day when I woke up in a pile of dirty clothes with vomit dried all over me. That day at 10 years old, I said I want to be a mom. Because I don't want kids to have to do this. I will never do this to my baby. Even at 10, it's crazy that you could think that. But it's funny because now at 28, I actually asked my stepmom a few weeks ago, where were you guys? What does a parent have to go through for their baby to be in a pile of dirty clothes, waking up from a fever, and wondering where her parents were?
Yeah.
Well, I changed myself, and I went to school. I took myself to school, caught the bus by myself, and I figured it out. But as a mother, I am proud to say that I will never let that happen to another kid, and which is why this motivates me. So it motivates me because I know what I'm capable of, and I know what drug addiction and depression can do to not only the people that are addicted, but to the family, to the babies. We go through so much that alter our decisions that we have. So I could have decided that I would end up like that I had not a pot to piss in, that this was my life and I was going to accept it. But even at 10 years old, I said no. There is no way. I still showed up to school. I washed my face. I climbed up out of the dirty clothes pile, and I made sure to tell myself, one, that I was going to be a mama and never let this happen, and two, that I was going to get the hell out of this lifestyle because that is not fair. It's not fair to the parents. It's not fair to the kids. And so growing up with that kind of influence and those role models in my life, I needed to figure out how to be one myself. And I needed to figure it out myself. So I stayed in sports. I stayed in school. My father did construction the best that he could too. But drugs won. Drugs and depression won. He lost the battle. My dad passed away. It will be 3 years this year from the drugs. He overdosed 2 months before my tryout for WWE.
Wow.
And I loved him no matter what he's done to my family. He still loved us, but he just couldn't fight the depression. And it's something I deal with. I mean, my whole family has depression, all addiction, but we have to continue to fight it and tell ourselves that we can overcome this. Unfortunately for my father, he didn't. My mom is doing great. She's clean and doing the best she can, and fighting the good fight every day. But I just, coming from that kind of lifestyle, it motivates me to tell these babies that if they are going through that, to get up, wash their face, and get to school. Break the cycle. You do not have to end up like that.
Yeah.
You do not, just because that's what you're used to, does not mean that's what you have to accept.
Right.
And for the parents, be there and help their babies up. Fight it. Get the help they need. And get their babies up.
Yeah.
For both sides.
Well, I have a lot of respect for you already because you could have continued down that path, and there are a lot of people that do that. So I think it's important for people to hear this right now because you can break it. How are you able to, you say you suffer from depression, what's the best way, or how have you been able to keep that at bay?
Well, I joined the military to be surrounded with better role models and more motivators. So, and the Marine Corps was the best branch I could have ever asked to be in. They just showed me a whole different way of life, a way of living, and counseling. So you just have to keep pushing yourself every day. You have to, I have a planner that from what I'm supposed to do from work or how I want my mind to be, I keep it in there. I tell myself every single day what it is I want out of the day, what it is I want out of the week, what it is I want out of the month, as a mother, as a wife, as a wrestler, as a human freaking being, and that's what I push for, and that's what I work on. There's little things like the little lavender oils and stuff that I have, because it may sound stupid, but between that and yoga and getting professional counseling help, you have to work on it. It takes